Alright, what's up guys? So I'm bringing you part 2 to what if Anakin Skywalker never left Tatooine. So if you want to see a video or a short done, I got a cash app, you can donate to it if you want to, you don't have to, but it'll be linked down below. But if you like this type of content, then be sure to subscribe for more what if slash fanfics, lore, comics, reviews, video essays, and all things Star Wars. So part 1 will also be linked down below and at the end of the video, but Anakin never leaves Tatooine, and I created my own original character, Estella, and kind of what Pente Patrol Star Wars did. And they realistically exist within Star Wars, and the two have a son named Luke. That's pretty much what happens in part 1. So, but if you want to watch the full story, then go check it out. But with all that out of the way, why don't we just dive right on in? So the story starts off where it left off, with Anakin getting a knock on the door at his family's moisture farm. It had been 10 years since Luke was born, and he was happy with his wife and son. He had created the life he had always wanted, but everything was going to change. When Anakin opened the door, standing in the entrance was the Grand Inquisitor, third sister, and fifth brother. The Grand Inquisitor simply asked, "Where is the Force user?" Anakin's eyes widened, and the Inquisitors could sense this. He had heard tales of the Empire and what they did to people who could use the Force. Estella walked in asking who it was with Luke, and as they did this, the young Skywalker showed to his dad a new trick he learned that he just showed his mom. Luke was levitating a piece of metal, and the Inquisitor saw this and smiled. Anakin realized in that moment, and he yelled at Estella to take Luke and run. She heard the urgency and fear in his voice, and she understood what she needed to do. Luke dropped the piece of metal, and he followed as his mother grabbed him by the arm, and the two ran out of the house and headed to a speeder. Anakin unleashed a massive force push that sent the three Inquisitors flying back. They flew back onto the sand but brushed themselves off and got up, and shocked to learn that the father was force sensitive too, and they thought that he must have been a former Jedi. Two birds with one stone. Anakin grabbed his blaster and rained a storm of blaster bolts onto them, but the Grand Inquisitor ignited his lightsaber and blocked each one. He told third sister to go after the boy and woman, and Anakin saw the female Inquisitor run off. He needed to finish things here and meet back up with Estella. Anakin tried to rush towards her, but fifth brother intervened, igniting his own saber. Third sister, or Reva, ran off to go find Estella and Luke. The Grand Inquisitor and fifth brother circled Anakin, and Skywalker realized he would have to use everything in order to beat them. Fifth brother launched forward with a flurry of strikes, but Anakin dodged each one, but he felt the heat of the blade as the last strike grazed his shoulder. He ran forward, which caught fifth brother off guard, and as he was face to face with the dark side user, Anakin unleashed a massive blast of force lightning that sent fifth brother flying back into the sand. This shocked the Grand Inquisitor, and he wondered just who Anakin really was. Fifth brother tried to get up, but Anakin unleashed the full force of his lightning, and as he did so, he took the Inquisitor's lightsaber and was about to finish him off when the Grand Inquisitor stepped in and blocked the strike. The former Jedi Temple Guard called fifth brother a failure for losing so easily, and Anakin steered daggers at the Grand Inquisitor. Anakin launched forward with the lightsaber he stole from fifth brother, but he swung wildly. He had never used a saber before, and the Grand Inquisitor could sense this. He easily dodged each strike and slashed down, cutting fifth brother's lightsaber in half. This shocked Anakin, and he tried to use Force Lightning, but the Grand Inquisitor managed to dodge, and he used the Force to pick up Anakin. He Force choked the Chosen One and cut off his left leg. He brought him forward and impaled Anakin on his crimson saber. The Grand Inquisitor dropped Anakin to the ground and left him to die. Fifth brother barely managed to get up and followed the Grand Inquisitor. Anakin was on the verge of death, and he felt the heat from the twin sons of Tatooine coming down on him. But this wouldn't be enough to kill him. His thoughts flowed to his wife and son. They're all that mattered. Anakin dragged himself through the sand and back to their moisture farm, but as he dragged himself, Anakin saw Stella laying on the ground. He crawled over to her and realized she wasn't breathing. And that's when he saw the lightsaber wound near her heart, and he looked around and saw Luke was nowhere to be seen. They murdered his wife and kidnapped his son. All Anakin felt in that moment was rage, and he used that anger to pick himself up, even with the missing leg, and roar in anger towards the sky. He held his wife and screamed towards no one, and his eyes flickered from normal to yellow, and this could be felt throughout the galaxy, but also by someone who was on Tatooine. Anakin's rage subsided, and he looked in the distance to see two hooded figures coming towards him, but he had used all of his energy and was heavily injured. Anakin lost consciousness as he saw them getting closer. Skywalker woke up hours later with bandages around his wound and missing leg. He looked around to see two people sitting near him, and they introduced themselves as Obi-Wan Kenobi and Ahsoka Tano. Anakin didn't care who they were. All he wanted was to find his son and kill the ones responsible. The ghost of Qui-Gon Jinn had led Obi-Wan to find Anakin, and Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, and Yoda had all felt Anakin's presence in the Force and knew he was the Chosen One. Obi-Wan spoke. "Anakin Skywalker, you are the prophesied Chosen One, said to destroy the Sith and bring balance to the Force." Anakin in an angry tone responded, "I don't give a shit about prophecies or Chosen Ones or Jedi or Sith. All I care about is my son and ending the ones who took him." Obi-Wan grimaced at that, but Ahsoka spoke up. "That may be true, but as you are right now, you stand no chance. We can train you to find your son and defeat the Inquisitors and the ones who lead them, Darth Maul, but they are all mere puppets to the Emperor. But you take them, and we'll take care of him." With Obi-Wan and Ahsoka's help, Anakin returned to the moisture farm and buried his wife next to his mother, another dead family. Anakin spoke. "I'm sorry, Stella, I failed you. but I promise, I'll find our son. Anakin, Ahsoka, and Obi-Wan traveled to Obi-Wan and Ahsoka's ship, and as they launched into hyperspace, Anakin looked back at his desert homeworld. His memories, both good and bad, flooded his mind. The coordinates were set to Dagobah to meet up with Yoda and a small rebel team. They arrived at the swampy planet and landed near Yoda's cave, which had been turned into their base for now. Anakin walked out with the help of Ahsoka and Obi-Wan. They sat him down in a log, and Yoda came out with Bail Organa, Mon Mothma, and Padme Amidala. Padme looked at Anakin, and she saw a man who looked lost in the galaxy. Yoda welcomed Anakin, but he told the little green alien that he was only here to get stronger so he could find his son. He didn't care about the Jedi or the Empire. His son and ending the ones who caused this was all he cared about. Yoda respected his reasons, but told him that if he allowed them to train and guide him, he would get his son back, and Anakin agreed. And so for the next year and a half, Anakin trained in the light, meditating with Yoda to enhance his force skills, and training with Obi-Wan and Ahsoka to learn lightsaber combat. During this time, they traveled to Ilum, where Anakin was drawn to a purple crystal and he formed his own lightsaber. Anakin learned to embrace the light and dark, and soon he had far surpassed Obi-Wan and Ahsoka, along with other survivors of Order 66 like Caleb Dune and Cal Kestis, who were a part of the rebellion. He had also grown closer to Padme during this time, but he would never forget Estella for him. She would always be his true love, but it was nice to have someone he could confide in. Padme told Anakin she had also lost someone close to her, so she knows what it's like. Anakin eventually completed his training, and the time came to end the Empire. Anakin would find Luke and destroy the Inquisitors, and the rest would fight Palpatine and kill the Emperor. The Inquisitor base had stayed in Coruscant, as was Palpatine's palace, so everyone geared up and prepared for the upcoming fight. Once ready, they hopped in a starship and jumped into hyperspace towards Coruscant. They landed and split into 3 teams: Anakin, Cal, and Caleb, who traveled to the Inquisitor's headquarters, Mon Mothma, Bail Organa, and Padme, who traveled to the Senate, and Yoda, Ahsoka, and Obi-Wan, who traveled to Palpatine's palace. Anakin readied himself as the 3 quickly took out stormtroopers guarding the entrance. Instead of sneakily busting in, Anakin yelled out, stating for the strongest Force users to come out and face him. 4 people walked out: 5th brother, 3rd sister, the Grand Inquisitor, and Darth Maul. Anakin glared at them, especially Reva, the one who killed his wife. He was going to gut her. Anakin ignited his saber and dashed forward, barely giving Reva enough time to block. Cal took on the Grand Inquisitor and Caleb took on 5th brother, while Darth Maul just watched, studying Skywalker. Anakin's strength was unmatched, and Reva struggled under the might of his blade. In the end, she didn't stand a chance, and Anakin cut through her saber and gutted her, but he didn't stop there, and he released his saber and jammed his fist into her wound and gutted her and with his hand before he used his saber and jammed it down her throat, killing her. Maul grimaced at this, but Anakin looked to see Caleb cut down 5th brother, but stopped when the Grand Inquisitor decapitated Cal. This angered Anakin, and Caleb stepped forward, joining Skywalker's side. They both nodded, but Darth Maul stepped forward and ignited a crimson saber and the dark saber, which he kept. Maul taunted Anakin and saying his son was near death, and after gutting his father, he will enjoy torturing the boy and turning him to the dark side. This angered Anakin, and he leapt towards Maul with his purple saber in tow, and the Chosen One and the disciple of Sidious engaged in a duel. All the while, Caleb took on the Grand Inquisitor. Caleb struggled against the former Temple Guard, and the Grand Inquisitor could sense this. The battle ended just as quick as it began, and the Grand Inquisitor cut off his hands and then gutted Caleb. Anakin saw this and yelled out. 2 of his friends had just been killed by the same ones responsible for his wife's death. In his last moments, Caleb tossed Anakin his blue saber, and the Chosen One caught it, and he leapt back in to face Maul and the Grand Inquisitor. Anakin embraced the light and dark. He used the Force to push back Maul and used Force lightning to electrocute the Grand Inquisitor. Skywalker ran forward, and he cut the former Temple Guard in half. Maul ran towards Anakin, and 4 sabers clashed against each other. Black against purple and red against blue, but Anakin headbutted Maul and used this distraction to jump over him and shove both sabers into his back, killing him. Anakin dropped to the floor tired, and with a saddened look saw the bodies of Cal and Caleb, but he moved forward. He reached a lower level after killing more stormtroopers and ending the Inquisitors, where he found Luke in a cell. The young boy was happy to see his father, and once he freed Luke, Anakin hugged his son. They shared a teary-eyed reunion, and Anakin apologized to his son for not saving his mother, but Luke told him it was okay and that he's glad his dad found him. Anakin said that he would train Luke or have someone train him, so he would never be defenseless like that ever again, and Luke smiled. The father and son walked out, and they met up with Obi-Wan and Ahsoka, who just killed Palpatine and his royal guards. Anakin asked where Yoda was, and Obi-Wan in a sad tone said that the former Grand Master sacrificed himself to give Obi-Wan and Ahsoka the opportunity to finish off the Emperor. Anakin told him about Cal and Caleb, but he introduced his new friends to his son, and Luke immediately formed a connection to the 2 Jedi. They met up with the 3 senators who had traveled to the Senate, and over the course of the next 5 years, the Empire had been destroyed, and the new Republic was formed. Bail Organa became Chancellor, and Ahsoka and Obi-Wan restarted the Jedi Order, with Luke, now 16, becoming the first student. Anakin let his son follow his destiny, and now he felt lost. He couldn't return to Tatooine alone. All that planet caused him was misery and loss, but this drew him closer to Padme, which caused the 2 to fall in love. Anakin told Luke and the young Skywalker was happy for his father, and told him that they both had their own paths to follow. Anakin smiled and hugged his son and said that he would make a great Jedi. Anakin and Padme traveled to to Naboo where they married, and after visiting Anakin's family's grave on Tatooine, moved to a lakeside in Naboo. Padme became pregnant and gave birth to a girl who they named Leia Estella Skywalker, and she would grow up to join the Jedi Order, loved by everyone, her friends, her family, especially her older brother, and the galaxy was in a new era of peace and prosperity. Alright, and that's the story. So if you guys liked the video, then be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And you know, for part 2, I thought it was pretty decent. I mean, I didn't want to make it one giant video, as I felt like this is just a whole separate continuation from the last one. Like, I wanted part 1 to just be entirely on Tatooine, and for this to be the aftermath or the continuation of that story. I had fun writing it. I feel like the character of Estella could realistically exist in Star Wars. You know, Anakin could have just met along the way on Tatooine. But as you can see, I used gameplay in the background. To be honest, I got kind of lazy with the editing. I just wanted to get this video out as soon as possible, but I mean, I might have more videos like this in the future where it's just gameplay in the background. But let me know if you actually prefer this or, you know, actually the full edited videos. But aside from all that, if you want to donate to the Cash App, will be linked down below. Go check out my other channels, all that will be linked down below, and I will catch you all in the next video. Peace.